Lastly, sir, we have an executive order ordering the declassification of files relating to the President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
That's a big one, huh? A lot of people are waiting for this for years, for decades. And everything will be revealed.
President Donald J. Trump has his foot on the pedal, and he's not letting up, guys. The declassification of the JFK, RFK, and MLK files are already underway. The World Economic Forum was stunned to hear what the president had to say to them. And President Joe Biden, he makes one big mistake as he left the White House. Now, I've got all of this and a lot more in today's video. So before we jump in, just want to thank y'all so much for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for sharing this video. You guys are absolutely amazing. It really does help me out, and I appreciate you guys hitting the like button. Let's jump in. So the full findings of the government's investigations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. have long been hidden. Decades have passed by with the American people not being provided with the details about what really happened. I'm still waiting on those Epstein files, but you know, those along with Diddy's, but I'll be patient. Now, remember that the president talked about releasing these documents to the public during his presidential campaign, right? We all remember that. And it's good to see that he's being a man of his word, right? The problem, though, is that some government agencies feel that this isn't going to be good for them, even though it's something that many of us have been asking for years.
I've thought that the CIA has overmade its case. It was trying to protect its own bureaucratic reputation. I think these files it won't prove that they were behind the efforts of the president, but I think they will be embarrassing to the agency about how much they knew that Oswald was unhinged in the weeks before they never told the FBI. So to the extent the files show that, it will be embarrassing to the agency, and it should be, because we need to see these after all these years.
Well, and by the way, so what if it's embarrassing to the agency? And by the way, everybody at the agency probably wasn't, you know, they were kids, if alive, when the assassination occurred. You say that anybody waiting for some dramatic revelation will be disappointed, but could the full release finally put to bed many of the conspiracy theories that still persist?
I think they will put together. There will be no credible evidence, no smoking gun documents, so to say, that everybody will say, oh my goodness, that's it. That's what proves the conspiracy.
Can you believe that the CIA is worried about being embarrassed? If they're doing their jobs, what do they have to be embarrassed about, right? It's not like it's never happened before. But chances are that this guy is right. Even though legacy media called him up to try and deflate any notions that there's something out there that we haven't seen yet. But it is plausible that if there was a smoking gun, it's already been thrown out or destroyed, right? But the fact here is that we're going to find out what else the government has been hiding from us, even though it's probable that the results will be underwhelming to many of us. Now, moving on, guys, the World Economic Forum recently had President Donald Trump address them in Davos. Now, for anyone who's not familiar with the work of the WEF, they're basically this group of elites that they want to control our lives. They meet up every year in Davos, Switzerland, and you know, all the richest, wealthiest controllers of the world, they map out their evil plans. So back in 2018, they released a video that predicted what would happen in 2030. It starts with, you will own nothing and you'll be happy. You know, 15-minute cities, folks eating bug sandwiches and all that nonsense. Nothing but electric cars. You'll have a social credit score that limits what you can do in this world. Now, we've seen this idea throughout the past few years, right? People have been preparing for this, with the concept of home and car ownership being questioned by these ultra-rich, self-proclaimed leaders. They don't want you to own anything. They're also predicting that the United States won't be a superpower by that time. Now, there's also this concept of eating bugs instead of meat. They also support the idea of housing illegal immigrants. And it's all in this one video that's now somehow, and I don't know why this happened, this is so weird, this video is all of a sudden missing from their website. They also deleted a write-up from 2016 entitled, Welcome to 2030. I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better. This is the kind of messaging that they've been trying to push for years. Now, it really sucks for them because we're not all that stupid. And one of the worst blows to their agenda is Donald J. Trump winning this presidency by a landslide. Yuval Noah Harari, a known pundit for the WEF, talked about what would happen if Trump was elected as president yet again.
Are you concerned that Trump might be elected again?
I think it's very likely.
And if it happens, it is likely to be the kind of like the death blow to what remains of the global order. And he says it openly. Now, again, it should be clear that many of these politicians, they present a false dichotomy, a false binary vision of the world, as if you have to choose between patriotism and globalism, between being loyal to your nation and being loyal to some kind of, I don't know, global government or whatever.
And he's right. The global order is being beaten down as we speak. He literally called out these globalist elites to their faces, and there's not a damn thing they can do. Can I get an amen on that? Especially since he's hit the ground running with all these executive actions.
That's why from the moment I took office, I've taken rapid action to reverse each and every one of these radical left policies that created this calamity, in particular with immigration, crime, and inflation. On day one, I signed an executive order directing every member of my cabinet to marshal all powers at their disposal to defeat inflation and reduce the cost of daily life. I imposed a federal hiring freeze, a federal regulation freeze, a foreign aid freeze, and I created the new Department of Government Efficiency. I terminated the ridiculous and incredibly wasteful Green New Deal. I call it the Green New Scam. Withdrew from the one-sided Paris Climate Accord and ended the insane and costly electric vehicle mandate. We're going to let people buy the car they want to buy. I declared a national energy emergency, and it's so important, national energy emergency to unlock the liquid gold under our feet and pave the way for rapid approvals of new energy infrastructure. The United States has the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we're going to use it. Not only will this reduce the cost of virtually all goods and services, it'll make the United States a manufacturing superpower and the world capital of artificial intelligence and crypto.
President Trump also talked about his actions to remove DEI policies as well as categorize gender back down to two, male and female only.
My administration has taken action to abolish all discriminatory diversity, equity, and inclusion nonsense. And these are policies that were absolute nonsense throughout the government and the private sector. With the recent yet somewhat unexpected great Supreme Court decision just made, America will once again become a merit-based country. You have to hear that word, merit-based country. And I've made it official, an official policy of the United States, that there are only two genders, male and female. And we will have no men participating in women's sports, and transgender operations, which became the rage, will occur very rarely.
Now you got to wonder what WEF's head, Klaus Schwab, was thinking while all of this went down. He can't be all that happy about it because he just can't stop Trump from talking. Surprised he didn't try to steal his microphone or something like that. But this is the leader of the free world we're talking about here. And the president also made it very clear that he's serious when it comes to tariffs. This is again in line with his vision of bringing businesses back here in the country.
I have promised to eliminate 10 old regulations for every new regulation, which will soon put many thousands of dollars back in the pockets of American families. To further unleash our economy, our majorities in the House and Senate, which we also took along with the presidency, are going to pass the largest tax cut in American history, including massive tax cuts for workers and family, and big tax cuts for domestic producers and manufacturers. And we're working with the Democrats on getting an extension of the original Trump tax cuts, as you probably know, by just reading any paper. My message to every business in the world is very simple. Come make your product in America, and we will give you among the lowest taxes of any nation on earth. We're bringing them down very substantially, even from the original Trump tax cuts. But if you don't make your product in America, which is your prerogative, then very simply you will have to pay a tariff. differing amounts, but a tariff which will direct hundreds of billions of dollars and even trillions of dollars into our treasury to strengthen our economy and pay down debt. Under the Trump administration, there will be no better place on earth to create jobs, build factories, or grow a company than right here in the good old USA.
And I guess you could say this is like that old saying, you're either with us or you're against us. Now, what the president is saying here is that America needs to be first, and that the wasteful spending where we get nothing in return, that crap's got to stop. That's also why he suspended foreign aid for 90 days, because he wants to see if they align with his policy goals. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's stopping them altogether. And this is what was expected from a new administration. Now, speaking of which, President Trump is disappointed in the former administration, but not for the reason that many of you guys might be thinking. Because besides letting in millions of illegal immigrants and destroying the economy, former President Joe Biden may have made his worst mistake as he left office. He was able to pardon almost everybody around him, but seems to have forgotten to do the same for himself.
Joe Biden ran and said he would never do preemptive pardons. It was an issue that came up when you were leaving in your first time.
He thought, he heard that I was going to do it. I didn't want to do it. I was given the option. They said, sir, would you like to pardon everybody, including yourself? I said, I'm not going to pardon anybody. We didn't do anything wrong. And we had people that suffered. They're incredible patriots. We had people that suffered. You had Bannon put in jail. You had Peter Navarro put in jail. You had people that suffered. And far worse than that, they've lost their fortunes. They've lost their nest egg, paying it to lawyers. And those people, and people said, and they wouldn't have even taken, most of those people, they wouldn't have even taken a pardon. This guy went around giving everybody pardons. And the funny thing, maybe the sad thing, is he didn't give himself a pardon. And if you look at it, it all had to do with him.
So President Trump on his end said that he's not going to prosecute his political rivals. But at the same time, there's always the need to have people held accountable for their actions. So here's my question for you guys. Do any of you guys think that former President Joe Biden should be investigated for corruption? Just type yes or no in the comments down below. I really want to hear from you guys. But I also want to redirect you guys to another live stream that I did where I covered the actual troops that are being sent to our borders, as well as what Elon Musk is saying about his recent actions. As always, I appreciate you guys hitting the like button. Thank you for sharing this video. You guys are amazing, and I'll see you on the next one.